And here we are, the last show of 2024. That is right. I am Jeff. This is Joshua. And here we are again. Next week is 2025. We won't have a show next week, of course. But looking forward to having an exciting show with you, Joshua. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. Like you just said, 2025 is here in what, like 2 or 3 days. Amazing this year, especially December went by pretty fast. So, yeah, go Birds, by the way. Yeah, I'm up them Eagles. Blowout, too. A huge blowout.
The Dallas of
Ah,
all people, for sure, or all teams, that is. Hell yeah. F Dallas is what we like to say
yeah.
in Philly. But yeah, we are, I think I pulled this up, didn't I? Yeah, I did pull this up. Yeah, here we are again. As we said, the last show of the year. We are going to get through some fun things tonight, talk about a lot of DC things. Is that correct,
Oh,
Joshua?
DC things, a little bit of Marvel, but we're also going to take a look into a deep dive of the DCU. I have some news that is some good news, some very sad news, and some concerning news for the future, depending
Interesting.
on
Yeah,
how things happen.
I agree for sure right there. But considering it is the last show of the year, why don't we bring the whole gang in? We're missing one. It's Mr. Dan De La Torre. Hey, how are you, sir?
I'm
The
doing
judge.
great, doing great. Yeah, and again, Joe, you're the best, man. I had to comment in the chat here that he's not here, and by the way, he'll be back next time.
Yes, rest well, sweet prince. Rest well indeed. You are loved. You are missed. Again, we're gonna get into the news, but before we do so, I gotta give you props, Dan. You picked a great featured episode issue here. Really happy you brought this. It would have flown over my head, even though I have it for a couple of reasons. But again, I'm under the weather, so. This week it's a great one. This is episode 209. I'm sorry, guys.
We're proud of you, Jeff, for sticking through.
Episode 209, which coincides with Fantastic Four 209 right here. Titled Trapped in the Saragossa of Space, the Fantastic Four embark on a quest to locate Galactus, seeking his aid to prevent the Sphinx from destroying Earth. During their journey, they become sidetracked in a spacecraft graveyard where they encounter a prison revolt that demands their intervention. Simultaneously impressed are killed, declares herself the leader of the Skrulls, preparing for a final assault. First John Byrne issue right here, and also the first introduction to Herbie, who was in the Fantastic Four cartoon, I guess in the early 80s or late 70s.
Yes, 80s.
They didn't want to have Johnny Storm in there because they thought kids would light themselves on fire. Dan, this is a great, great issue right here.
Thank you so much. It's great to be a historian. So,
by the way, people keep up bringing Joe. Yes, as you know, again, anytime we bring up Joe, so yeah, anytime Joe is brought up in the show tonight, we will obviously give him his props. I'm devastated as well, but
yeah.
We'll
get through it. We'll get through it, people.
We'll get through
stick together
as a community. Yes. We will get through this together. But we have a lot to get through as it is because we have a lot to talk about when it comes to the news. Joshua, what do you got? Where do you want to start?
Man, let's start off with like the least favorite thing everybody wants to talk about, and that's the Sony Spider-Man messed up universe. So Sony technically is saying it's our fault and the media's fault. Sony is planning to rethink their Spider-Man universe strategy. Sony Pictures CEO Tony Vancala says that the press is to blame for the Spider-Man universe for not performing well, such as how the critics bombed Madam Web. I don't think that's the case. I think the case is simply that you guys are just, you're trying to make money. I get it. It's Spider-Man IP. However, you're not making good movies. They don't have good scripts. And the most important thing is missing from those movies, and that is Spider-Man himself. Now, we already learned that Sony, if they wanted to, at any time could have had Spider-Man come over into the movies. They didn't. And then they had the weird Venom thing where Venom was teased to, like, you know, go be a part of fighting Spider-Man, supposedly in the third film. That never happened. So, yeah, I, uh, I just gotta say to Sony, like, look, give up. Just stop. Not sell the IP if you don't want to, but don't think about restarting another universe or starting all over again because unless you're gonna get good writers, it's not gonna end well.
Yeah, agreed. As it says here, spare Sony, please. Like seriously, when I first heard that they were going to be producing a Venom movie, this is exactly why I had ambitions. I'm not saying I called this by any means because probably a majority of people did it. How are you gonna have a Venom movie without Spider-Man? And it was okay. It was entertaining. It wasn't good. There were a lot of cringeworthy moments, especially when the humor came in. So Venom 2 is even worse, and I haven't seen Venom 3, and it's rare that I don't see a comic book movie out in the theater. So I agree wholeheartedly, like that it was not executed well with the writing, the direction, and whatever else you want to mention here. And for the CEO of Sony to blame the press for this, it's like, come on, what they have a vendetta against? It's absolutely ridiculous. You don't understand the people, the fans of these characters that you own the rights to make films with, and that it starts right there. So hand it over to the experts or bring the experts in because you guys, or actually just please move on. Move on. Do us all a favor. Dan,
the mistake that Sony made was the same mistake that the DC Universe made when they threw something out there, seeing the success of the MCU, and just threw movies out there thinking, oh, it's Superman, oh, it's Batman. They'll eat anything alive. They'll go to the theater. And Sony did exactly the same thing. I bet you no one at Sony, especially the writers, picked up a comic book, understood the storyline, understood what the fans wanted. So blame themselves. And it's pretty shameful that they're blaming others. It's pretty pathetic, actually.
They took us for granted is what they did. It's exactly what the DCEU did as well. They just thought, hey, we make somebody will slap a Superman emblem on this dude's chest and we'll make his movie. Actually, Man of Steel is pretty good. But they took us for granted. You just throw all these characters in a movie, they'll do great. So all right, let's move on to the next news story, which I have no horse in the race with. I just want to mention that. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is actually very interesting. So multiple sources are saying that Hasbro and Paramount are looking into rebooting Power Rangers. It would be a completely, do-over. It would be a new film, stuck to 2026, probably 2027, depending if, say, by mid this year they decide to put a plan in place and start shooting. I'm gonna be honest with you. I grew up watching Power Rangers back in the '90s when it first aired, and I remember going to Kmart and buying the bracelet and trying to transform, and it didn't really work out or anything for me. But I still had a good time with it. I didn't watch a whole lot of the other, spin-off series, and I did watch the recent rebooted movie that came out in 2017, I believe, which I thought was decent. But I think Power Rangers, man, it's a good IP, but it has to be done right. You gotta have people that know the lore, know the history, and honestly, if you do a good film, you could potentially do a good show. I mean, we could do anime now, depending on where they want to go and different stuff. So hopefully maybe Power Rangers can come back and be a dominant IP again in the world of comics and pop culture.
Yeah, I got no horse in the race here, as I said earlier. Great. I'd love for them to make a great Power Rangers movie to make all the Power Ranger fans happy and get younger fans involved. That's great. Love to see that because it is a huge IP. I actually did see the last movie and thought it was okay. It was not bad, and I don't know why they didn't continue on with that. But Dan, I don't know if you have any thoughts on Power Rangers.
Just real quick, Josh is spot on with this. There is a following with the Power Rangers, and it's a very serious following. And if they pull this off correctly, they can revive this series. And if they go astray, like anything else, it's going to go to the wayside. And people are going to be pissed off at this. This franchise.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good point. There are passionate fans here. You see that out and about at conventions. Them in cosplay and what have you. So I'd love to see them pick it up and actually produce something that actually I would be interested in. Who's on the outside? Maybe even you, Dan, too. So something to think about. But good for them. All right, moving on. This is some great news for all of us who like good.
All right,
Great
so
content,
from
great
here on
shows.
out, to gentlemen and ladies and everybody watching, we're talking strictly DC news now. So this is actually very
Hey, before
interesting.
you do, Josh, before you do,
Yeah.
look who it is.
Who's this
Uh,
guy?
Everybody, please, moment of silence. That's right. Anybody that mentions Joe this evening, we are going to play that little tidbit there. So rest well, sweet.
Yeah, I should have said at the end of the Spider-Man Sony talk, I should have said, "Hey, too bad Joe's not here to give us our comments," and boom, we could have cut to that. But
Yeah. Well, we'll have other opportunities within the show. All right. What do we got here? This is exciting because this is a deep dive of the DCU brought to you by our Adam Schefter, the comic book canon. Joshua, let's get into it right now.
Well, so we got confirmation of a renewal for a new show. Well, actually, a season two. Crucial Commanders has been announced for season two already, and I think we're on episode 5. I think we got 2 or 3 more episodes to go. And you know what? I'm loving the show. I'm gonna be honest. When this was announced, I really didn't have any care for it. I didn't know nothing about the characters, but since it was announced, and I've actually read a few of the comics on them, and after watching the show, I gotta say, like, I'm loving the direction that this is going. I love the team, and hearing that it's going to get a season two, I think that's great. However, some people are upset online. They're like, "Oh, well, James Gunn just renewed his own show." I don't think that's the case. I mean, I think he has to go up to Warner Brothers as well and say, "Hey, even though we're in charge of DC, we would like to renew this." And from what I'm hearing on HBO Max, man, Crucial Commandos is killing it. It's one of the best, like, series and with the most views ever for a new show. So I'm completely happy with this. No issue with it.
Hey, I got to say, because we're going to talk about something a little bit further in the news tonight, which I think shows how they approach things. And I don't think they would just, renew it for season 2 because James Gunn is behind it and he's the head of the DC studios or what have you. They have to have the numbers backing it. And I really do believe that they're going to be doing that. They're going to be doing things that they feel like will be successful. They're not going to be like what we talked about earlier, just throwing these superheroes together and creating a Justice League movie. I don't see that happening. They have to have data-backed evidence that it is a success, whether it be critic ratings, whether it be audience numbers, etc. So, and obviously, what comes bottom line is the dollar. So, Dan, I know you'll agree with that.
Absolutely agree with that. And again, the MCU proved this back in 2008. You have to build a foundation first. And then you build that foundation, you build, and then you can expand wherever. But you, like anything else, you plant the seed. It's got to grow. You got to fertilize. You got to care for it. The whole thing. So that's the template moving forward.
For sure. I mean, it's not a template. It's sound business approach is what it is. So that's what this studio will be doing because they failed in every iteration before it. So, all right, moving on. The next little piece of
Yeah, so now we're starting to get into a little bit of sad news. Okay. So somebody made a comment to James Gunn about a Flash film. Now, the Flash film that came out, was it a year or two ago? Yeah, it was okay. But James Gunn has said that DC Studios is holding a beat on development for a Flash film in the DCU. So technically, while he's saying that, they're thinking about doing one or they are going to do one, they're holding back on it for now, which I think is a smart move after the last Flash film came out and wasn't well received. However, I kind of feel like it would be interesting to see this take because technically we got confirmation of a certain Flash at the end of Crucial Commando season or episode 3 or 4, I believe. And the creator, okay, you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to say anything more because you guys don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, we'll wait until the new year until after all that stuff leaks out. But I think this is probably a good idea. Again, the Flash film in 2017 or whatever it was, wasn't well received, and I wasn't the biggest fan. So at least we know, hey, they're thinking about doing a Flash film, or it's at least in some kind of active development, but it's not being rushed. So, but we'll talk about not being rushed later in the show. I bring up a good point in the deep dive about that.
For sure. Everybody like and subscribe before we move on to the next story. I do want to acknowledge Mr. Matt Stadge. Hello. Seen you sporadically throughout the year. Glad you're here for our last show of the year. And I liked The Flash for the first season, maybe two, but then it got horrible on the CW. Yeah. Rest well, sweet prince. Moving on. What's the next news story we have?
Yeah.
Again.
All right. So
Yeah.
this breaks my heart, man. I couldn't believe this when I saw this, and like I immediately jumped on the internet and I'm looking for legit sources. And when Deadline reported it, my heart fell out of my chest. And I may or may not have put a hole in my wall so far that my neighbors can look through my kitchen. But unfortunately, the Batman 2 has been delayed once again into 2027. It will now release on October 1st, 2027. The Batman Part 2 title might change, and production will begin in late 2025 or similar 2025 with heavy VX or VFX.
Visual effects.
Yeah, well, heavy visual effects. But it's interesting to note that it may even be pushed back. I'm not saying delayed, but filming or production may not even begin late summer due to the fact that Matt Reeves and James Gunn confirmed that the script is not yet complete. Matt Reeves does not want to start shooting until the script is finished and complete. I'm also hearing potentially rumors that Matt is having some personal problems going on in his life. I've heard, I'm not going to go talk about what they are, but I'm hearing some things. So there might be a reason why he's so slow to complete the script, that he's dealing with personal issues. And all I know is this: Batman was fantastic. The Penguin was amazing. Um, Let the man do his thing. I know we got to wait 2 more years now, but I think it's going to work out, and it's going to be for the better. Because some people are jumping on him and saying, well, he should be kicked off the project, bring somebody new in. No, let him do his thing, and, it'll all work out.
By the way, Mons, he said this news sucks, not the movie sucks. And this is what I'm talking about. Will it even be relevant by this point? Because like they have so much momentum with the Penguin, and you wanted to see something come out within the next year, and it just sucks at this point, especially for somebody like Joe. Who this is his favorite Batman movie. By the way, it's one of those things that really kind of just frustrates you, and everybody in the comment section is agreeing with Mons and myself. I'm agreeing as well. It's just, it loses that momentum. However, again, this is the first I'm hearing about any sort of personal problems. Adam Schefter of Comic Book Canon, Joshua here has his ear on the concrete. That's how he gets his news. But again, you don't want to kind of dig into somebody that's actually built a really cool universe. It's from the mind of Matt Reeves, basically. So yeah, Dan, your thoughts?
Well, kind of like with the Flash movie. I mean, if they're throwing out a Flash movie just to throw out a Flash movie, that's going to destroy. It'll self-implode really quickly. But if they're trying to build a universe, and they're hesitating because they're mixing and matching the scripts, because Flash is a main character, Batman's a main character of DC. They have to get this right. My question is, what's taking so long? When was James Gunn? It was, what has it been, 2 years since he's been named the head of the DC universe, and so they're hesitating. They're backtracking. Then it sounds to me like they don't have their act together. So again, I've put some doubts. I wasn't rooting against DC. I'm still not. I'm hoping to put together something substantive. But if they're mixing and matching and backtracking along the way, this is not looking good for their first year. Because again, this is a pivotal year for DC. This is their first year. They're getting things out the door here, and they've got something to build on with the Penguin. If they can't build off of that, I don't know what the problem is.
Well, I do have to say, I'm not going to say that it's any sort of bad news or kind of they're disjointed in terms of the way that they're structured. I will say James Gunn has said this many times, and Josh is going to reinforce this as well in a few upcoming stories, that he's not going to greenlight anything until that script is done. Doesn't matter. They want less they're fine with less quantity as long as it's more quality. So that's something to keep in mind. I could see that as a good thing. It's just that we are so starving for more of this universe, and that hurts. We're going to get plenty of DC content coming up. We got Superman coming out. We got Creature Commander season 2. We got Lanterns. Josh, am I missing anything? There's more coming out, but not the big guns.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think too. Filming starts in 2026 alone. We're gonna have Supergirl. We're gonna have does Peacemaker come out at the end of this year or 2026?
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Lanterns is coming out as well. Clayface will be coming out as well by itself. So I mean, we do have content, but like Jeff said, we'll talk about it in a few minutes. I got some stuff that I can comment on more about this. I want to wait for the deep dive. However, I also want to say though, even though the Penguin, I mean, it's a separate universe here right now. It's the Else world. So, like I said, if Matt needs time, or if he has personal issues, or if he just wants to make sure that this script is one of the best damn movies ever, I mean, look, yeah, it sucks that we have to wait, but you also got to figure, we had the writer's strike. I don't think he was writing during then. And I think he's by himself in the writing room as well, if I'm not mistaken. This is solely his project. So, when you have nobody else and you got to write the whole thing, different story. But
we did forget about something here too, though. Spud brings us up. Clayface is greenlit. That's happening, right? The script is ready. That's happening. So again, that's another thing to be excited about.
You announced that at the last show, Jeff.
What's that?
We announced that at the last show.
No, I know. I'm just saying we were just listing some things off. That's one of the things we left off there. So there's a lot of content coming out.
I get the fact of the strike did slow things out without question. But again, James Gunn is in charge of the entire framework. And if he has that framework in place and he's told his people what to do, what's taking so long putting all these things together? There has to be someone coordinating this whole thing, and it's Gunn. And again, he's on the hook for this whole thing because he's the one who took the reins of DC, so he has to produce.
He knows he's on the hook, and we're going to get into that in a hot second here with the actual deep dive of the DCU. There's no rumors this year. We're not closing out the year with news or with rumors. We'll be back in 2 weeks talking about that. Before we get into this deep dive, like and subscribe. Josh, you have another thought here?
I do want to say real quick before we move on from the Batman 2, I forgot to put it in there, but the Brave and the Bold film has also been, while not officially have an announced date, has also been pushed back a little bit, which is something to be concerned. But I got some thoughts on that in a couple of minutes because we need to talk about that and potentially what's going to happen here. So let's move on to the deep dive.
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, so I've read a lot of interviews that Gunn has done in the last couple of weeks, especially for Superman, and some of the interviewers are asking questions not just about the shows or the movies, but they really want to know what's the plan, what's going on. So we found out really that every film and show will have its own vision. So some projects might be family oriented like Superman, while others might be a more adult like Creature Commandos. This will give the DCU kind of an open door, as you would say it. So that way creators can come in, can make the films they want, and can do their things. And I'm sure like Clayface, it's probably going to be a rated R horror film. I'm almost certain of that. I'm pretty sure that was announced. Again, Superman. When you think of Superman, okay, it's a family movie. You can take your families to see it. Say Brave and the Bold comes out, might be a bit of a darker take. Creature Commandos, rated R, TVMA, or rated R, as you would say. So I like the idea that, okay, it's not going to be like the MCU where everything's PG or PG-13. You can go, and the best part is you can have Clayface being an R-rated movie and then have him show up in a, PG-13 Batman movie down the road or something. Like everything can connect and it can flow, but you can go to those deeper, darker parts or those lighter tone parts. So I kind of like that. um, Moving on from there, the next point we're going to talk about is that superheroes and Superman already exist. They've been around long before Superman has. Um, so that means certain films can be set in the past. One thing I would really like to see, I don't know if Ben's going to do it, but a Justice Society of America, they could set it up. I think the good thing about this is he's not telling origin stories really. He wants to have a universe that's already established. Heroes belong there. We know that. You're not going to see like, oh, Batman popping up for the first time. You're not going to see like how we know in the trailer, like Green Lantern. Oh, well, Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl on there. They've been around. People look like they kind of know them already. So I like the idea that we don't have to technically restart everything from scratch. No, we're jumping in the middle of the action. Things are already set. Some of these now we might find out more about their stories and their history a little bit, but I like the idea that we can jump around and move to different time frames if needed. And like I said, you can make some very cool films. I know Sergeant Rock was announced to a movie. I would imagine that's going to be set, obviously in World War II times. I would imagine, unless we're doing a modern day adaptation, but wouldn't make sense. So going on, Gunn has said there's a plan for the DCU. However, if Superman, which they are banking on, if Superman does not perform well, Gunn says they're going to go back to the drawing board, and honestly, they may get rid of the DCU. They're not going to keep making movies kind of like how the DCUE made them. Oh, we keep losing money, they're flops, nobody's liking them. No, everything's pretty much riding on Superman at this point. And like I said, if this film does not do well, maybe we'll get Supergirl and the other stuff that is slated to start filming this year. But other than that, don't expect anything after that. So again, and I know we talked about this, and everybody said this. It's all riding on Superman at this point. So we'll see what happens there.
Well,
Why
Justin,
Gunn?
if can I pause you for a second? Let's back up a little bit. When you talked
Go
about
ahead.
the golden age of DC, that's a brilliant idea. Keep in mind that the comics, the superhero comics, started with DC, and they dominated for a couple decades in the 30s and 40s. And Marvel was barely on the map. I mean, the only other competitor was Fawcett with Captain Marvel, which they bought out in the 50s through a legal maneuver. But if they go backtrack and go back on some of those old stories here, they could do what Marvel couldn't do, because they didn't basically exist in those days, other than Captain America, which is a great movie and period specific. And if they stick with the period specific movies from DC, that's a great foundation, and they could actually dominate in that particular area, and a great bouncing point or launching point for the DC.
Yeah, I would honestly like. I don't read much Golden Age, but I mean, to see see the original Justice Society of America pop up and anything, I mean, come on, that I think would excite not only old collectors but new collectors, and I think that would do well. Rather be a movie or a show, if you can do it right and write it good. I mean, you know, I think that's your money ticket right there.
For sure.
Yeah,
Again, it would be cool to have them weave in and out of time and have it in a world that already has. So I hear what you're saying, Dan and Josh. I think it'd be very cool for that. But let's keep things moving as well, because your deep dive is not done, Joshua.
so while Gunn does believe in the DCU, they have this 10-year plan set, as you would say. He also believes heavily in the Elseworld stories. That's why, like the Batman Matt Reeves thing that he's doing, and if other directors or filmmakers want to come out and do an Elseworld story, he's open to it. He wants to tell essentially just good comic book movies. And he has said, DC has a rich history, and you can do some really cool stuff with it. And you know what? I mean, if he's cool with that and he wants to support both sides, hey, I'm all for it. I'm a DC guy. I love DC. As long as you give me a good movie with a good cast and a good script, I take out my money, go to the studio, see it. I'll watch it on HBO Max, whatever. Spend my time watching 8 hours of television. I don't care as long as it's good. So if you can make it good, I'm here for it. No problems with that.
Yeah, that's what they could not do consistently with the DCEU. Again, if they can start consistent, if they have the foundation, will be Superman, and we will see what happens in July. So that's a big, big deal. Sorry.
And then the last thing is kind of like what we said, projects will not be greenlit for production until Gunn and Safran are happy and have read the scripts personally. And unless they think the movies are actually worth making, they're not going to approve of it. They want quality over quantity, and they want to produce the best comic movies out there. So look, I'm willing to give James a shot. I know a lot of people have talked on the trailer and aren't as impressed. I liked it, and as a DC fan, I mean, I'm dying for content over here. I'm dying for a good DCU, universe set. I mean, it's funny, they've had great animation, but like when it comes to actual movies, they have a few hits. Some of the Batman movies, the OG Superman movies, but really animation has been the best and brightest, right? So if you can take some of that writing and you can take some of that, inspiration from the animated films, connect it into the modern day, and also put it into live action, I mean, you can do some incredible things. And we're what, 7 months out from July, I believe.
Yeah.
So as we get closer, we'll learn more. We'll see a couple more shows, but I'm hoping overall for a great film. And I'm just, as a DC fan, like I said, I'm hoping that we finally get a good start to a good universe, and we go back and forth, and we get to tell some great stories.
Yeah. Again, foundationally, they have to build what you said, Dan, earlier about the MCU. They started off with Iron Man, then they had the Hulk, then they went from there. They built. They always had this bigger vision, but the starting points have to be a success, right?
But those starting points happen with talented people. Jon Favreau is the best weapon that the MCU has. Now, whether Kevin Feige uses him, I know he's off in the Star Wars universe. Unfortunately, he should be brought back to the MCU because he's probably the best person who understands Marvel. He's got a few other weapons, the Russo brothers and so on, but you've got to find the talent. I mean, Stanley and Kirby back in the day had the bullpen. It was an incredibly talented bullpen, and that's what exploded the comic book world with fantastic stories. And so Gunn has to do the same thing, find great talent. That's not easy to do. To his credit, it's not easy to find incredibly talented people like the MCU has, but we'll see what happens. But I'm going to give James Gunn, a couple years. I'll see some of his movies. I'll look at it with an open mind. I'm like Josh. DC has so much to offer. They have so much damn stuff to offer here. It's frustrating that they can't get off the ground. I mean, they did, but I won't go back and track here. But I'll give them a good 2, maybe 3 years to get this up and running. If he has success, fantastic. If not, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah, for sure. Again, we always say this. We want this genre to succeed in whatever it is. I love DC characters. I'm definitely a Marvel guy, but I have much love for DC. Goes way back to like John Byrne's Superman. That's what drew me in. And Batman, all of the stories, it drew me in. I collected Justice League America, Justice League Europe, all of that stuff. I was all about it. Crisis. But again, I've been super disappointed. The last consistent thing we saw was Christopher Nolan's Batman. And, after that, it just hit or miss. Man of Steel was decent. I liked Man of Steel, and I saw a lot of hope in that. But again, time will tell. And Joshua, you did a fantastic job with this deep dive right here.
Yes.
That's good.
Well done.
Go ahead.
I just want to say real quick too. I think like Dan's saying, we'll wait a few years, see how things go. Honestly, I think by the end of 2026, we should know. Assuming that Superman does well and they like it, think about it. We'll have Supergirl, Clayface, and the Lantern show coming out in 2026. And I believe Peacemaker's the end of this year. So I think by the end of 2026, I think we'll be able to really gauge and know where we're going. And like I said, knowing that Gunn has said, "Hey, we're not going to approve of any scripts, or we're not going to, greenlight a movie until we think this is worthy of being made, and people are going to want to love and see this." and I'll talk about that booster gold in a minute. But I think that to me, okay, it's game on. You're not here just to make money. No, you want to, yeah, you want to make money, but you want to get good content.
That's
And
making
so
money
I
though.
have high hopes for that. Speaking, pull that question back up, booster gold.
Yeah.
All right. Let's say that. So, from what I understand, yeah, there is a Booster Gold show in pre-development, I guess you would say. Gunn commented on that. He has said pretty much that the script is not where they want it to be at yet. So I'm sure we'll get something maybe this year. We'll see. But like I said, he has said multiple times, unless you turn him in a script that like blows him away and he thinks is amazing and people are gonna love to see this. And don't forget, this guy took a simple IP that nobody thought anybody would enjoy, like Guardians of the Galaxy, and turned it into something as big as it did. So, I'm sure we'll get more announcements later this year of stuff going in production, but things have to be up to a high standard for him and Stafford to approve. And to me, that means something to me because, like I said, it's not Sony CEO saying, "Hey, got every single Spider-Man villain in history. Let's give them their own standalone film and hope we make millions off of it." So I think it's going to be interesting, and by the end of 2026, I think we'll know if we got a good universe or not.
That'll be a fair assessment for sure. If you could answer this question real quick before we move on to the final piece of news for 2024, which is a special moment for you, Josh. We have where is it? Goonish asking
Now,
if there's any news on the Spawn movie.
yeah, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't heard anything moving on that. I know at one point Jamie Foxx was supposedly in the lead. He
Oh, he
was
was signed
talking.
on, actually. He signed on.
Well, it's Fox himself and Todd both talked about it. Todd has a podcast, if I'm not mistaken, or he was on a podcast. And the problem is Todd can't find anybody that wants to help produce
Yeah.
and throw in money. Even though he's got money, but I get it. Maybe he doesn't want to take the big hit. But yeah,
Big hit.
we'll see what happens in 2025. I mean, Spawn, I think it's a good IP, but it's got to be done right. So as
Correct.
far as I know, he's still looking for people to help back him and produce the movie to get it off running.
And that's
Yeah.
a smart move, by the way. I mean, look at what J.K. Rowling did with her Harry Potter series. Who was it wanted to
Gotcha.
do the movie, and she said no, that's not what I wanted to project. When she saw the script, she found this other person, and they said that's exactly what I want to do. You don't want to throw something out there just to throw it out there. So the
Yeah.
Spawn movie has to be spot on because McFarlane's not going to want something that's just crap and ruin his reputation. He's going to take his time. He's going to be methodical. This is a very, very smart move on his point.
Well, and again, it's going to take tens of millions of dollars to produce this correctly. And I'm saying a low budget version of this is $50 million. So let's just keep that in mind. Okay, but we got to move on. Josh, you have one last moment of the news that you kind of want to tee up here and we have to talk about.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just like if I'm from a different universe. I don't know if I was made different, if I'm a prophet. I don't know if I can predict the future, but I kind of feel like I can. And I also feel like, my friends or family would be there to support me. So if I say, "Hey, I'm gonna go out and make $50 today," they're gonna be like, "Hey, you know what, Josh? Go make that $50. We believe in you. You're gonna do it." Nah, that's not the case here on the old canon.
Nope.
See, I predicted something, and it came true. And even when it did come true, I still have people doubting me on some of the other news I bring along. And this person who really doubted me and hurt my feelings.
Was it person or people?
Well, it was a people, but specifically this one person couldn't even show up here tonight and face me like a man. So I wanna show you guys this clip.
Sorry.
We're gonna go back, all right. And we're going to show you a piece of history, something that is the first time ever in canon. Somebody predicted something, it came true. And you know what? I dare that other gentleman who couldn't show up tonight, who's on his couch eating puff puffs and bonbons and drinking hot chocolate. I dare him to come back to the next episode and apologize to me. Yes, roll the footage.
And I do want to mention this. This is the moment. This is the winning moment of 2024 on the Canon.
I'll be the first to say it. I was wrong. I said when Josh brought this up, I was like, I even said beforehand, I said, Josh, do we really want to put this in the news? This is obviously just fake. It's clickbait. There's no way Robert Downey Jr. is going to come back as Doom. It doesn't make any sense. Why would this happen? Blah, 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 blah. But despite being such a naysayer, first of all, like I said, I'll admit I'm wrong here. I was totally off base. I also want to say that I'm excited about this because obviously this is not, you know, him taking on the role and continuing in the role for the next, you know, decade, 15 years, whatever, however long. This is clearly like a multiverse version.
There's no apology in there, I do have to say.
You know, it hurts. When knowing that, like, you know how many times I've bought into comics to this man and helped save his mortgage?
Yeah, I know. For
A
sure.
lot. Okay, and he doubts me? Oh, okay.
All right. Well, let's not harp on this because there's so many good things coming in 2025. We're all very excited. That there ends the news. Josh, congratulations on the winning moment of 2024 on the Canon. Everybody, please like and subscribe because we have some big news coming up right now. It is a new year coming up, and it's going to be a new Canon. That's right. We are refreshing the design, all of the assets. So we want to give you a sneak peek at our brand new logo. It's just spiffying it up a little bit, but we think you'll appreciate it. Let us know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. But all of the graphics, all of the animation, all of everything will be completely redone when we come back here in 2025, starting with our new logo. And there it is, the brand new logo. I know you guys are all waiting for that, the big tease. There's a brand new Canon coming in 2025. And as you can see, that was the brand new logo right there. It's just spiffying up our you know, kind of font and all of the colors, and our brand look is what it is. Our new brand look. I'm very excited. We are all very excited to have you part of the Canon community. You guys make this so much fun, and we want to do better and better for you each and every episode and year. So again, we'll be talking more over the coming 2 weeks before our first episode of 2025 about the new looks and new things happening here. So before we get to the next segment, which is our popcorn segment, we got to say hello to everybody. Canon got a BBL. I don't know what that means, Spuzz, but if you could let me know. We got Kate in the house as well. Immortal Struffy, I think, digging the new logo. Sticks Boy 73, your Canon is huge. Not the first time I've heard that before. A Plus Comics is in the house. We got Goonish Lurker in the house. Do we get a fresh jet? Yep, actually, that's you guys have heard his voice recently. You're gonna hear his voice again tonight. He's back. If you saw episode 200. Who else do we have in the house? We got Dan De La Torre. Did you know you're in the house? We got Joe in the house. Gotta do it, I guess. Gotta do it every time we bring him up. You know what I mean? Because we gotta. It's not getting old. I'm sorry. It's definitely not. We got the Neighborhood Merc. New logo looks fresh. We appreciate that. We got Mike Hags in the house. Who else do we have? We got lots of people in the house tonight. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We have not covered everybody. Dr. Yon is in the house. We got Matt Stadge in the house. Christina Payne in the house. Mon Comics in the house. Oh, who else? I know we got Raw Dog Comics in the house. I'm so sick of saying in the house, aren't I? D&T Comics in the house. Heroes Reborn in the house. So much fun. All right. So as we said, you, the community, are what fuels the cannon here, and we love you so much for it. We love featuring all of you when we can. The popcorn is the way to do that. So everybody, please check out our latest popcorn with Amanda from My Comics Mania.
Hey guys, Amanda here from Comic Mania. I am from little old Delaware, where my shop is also located. And since none of you probably know where that is, for reference, we are located about 30 minutes from Philadelphia. The first comic that I ever bought was this one right here. I actually got it raw off the rack at my first ever Baltimore Comic-Con back in, I think, 2018, maybe 2019. And yeah, I submitted to CGC and got a 9.8. So this is a book that I will never sell. It's held in such a little place right here in my heart. But the first comic that I ever read was I Hate Fairyland, and this title actually made me fall in love with Scotty Young, and he became the first artist and writer that I ever collected. But my second book that I ever read, which is my favorite book of all time, is The Walking Dead. Nothing will ever surpass it. I actually cried multiple times during this surprise last issue. So yes, The Walking Dead is my favorite book ever. Saga is number 2. Something not comic book related about me. I have 2 toddler boys. I have a 2-year-old and an almost 4-year-old named Jackson and Asher. I'm gonna make it comic related. So Asher's middle name is Wayne. He was named after Bruce Wayne. And Jackson's middle name is Potter, after the one and only Harry Potter. So little fun fact about me, I take my names very seriously, and I named them after a comic book character and another fictional character. So to nominate somebody else, let's see, I am going to nominate the guys over at Comic Capsule because I love their product. They are amazing dudes, and I actually carry their product in my shop. And why not spread the word just a little further about their amazing product? So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
And there you have it, the last popcorn of the year with My Comics Mania. That is actually, Spud, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that your local comic shop? I'm not sure. I know you do some live sales with Amanda. But that's a fun one right there. Those are not her kids, but I did have fun with the little AI animation there. So those kids look terrible in that comic book shop too, throwing those things around. Love it. But again, if you are interested in being part of the popcorn in 2025, please let us know in the comments. Please let us know when we post on Instagram. We'll be posting all over. We shorten up our segments and put them out there on the YouTubes, the Instagrams, the TikToks. Follow us there as well. Yes, it is the best LCS around. By the way, fun fact, and I will mention it in the group chat there, that I am from Wilmington, Delaware as well. And I know the area where that comic book shop is. And next time I am back there, I will be stopping by for sure. Thank you, Gunnar Schlurker. These popcorn segments are a lot of fun, and I will continue on to get to know all of our great community members here. This is the time when we usually do a little segment called Ask Joe, but as you know, Josh, are you getting sick of this?
No, I'm not.
Good.
I'm loving it.
I absolutely love it. All right, but we are going to do a segment called Did You Know? And Dan, I'm not sure. I want to say that you brought this up, but I'm not quite sure that you did, about why they created She-Hulk. Don't say it. Was it you, though? No? Well, you're going to find out why they created She-Hulk on this latest Did You Know?
Did you know She-Hulk was created to keep Marvel one step ahead of Hollywood? When you think of She-Hulk, you might picture her smashing through walls, breaking the fourth one, or serving justice both in the courtroom and on the battlefield. But did you know her very existence was a strategic move by Marvel Comics to outwit a TV studio? In the late 1970s, the Incredible Hulk TV show was a massive hit. Fearing that the studio might create a female version of the Hulk without Marvel owning the rights, Stan Lee and artist John Buscema sprang into action. She-Hulk made her debut in the Savage She-Hulk #1 in 1980, ensuring Marvel retained ownership of the character. It was a legal power move, both in fiction and reality. She became a fan favorite, known for her humor, intelligence, and ability to break the fourth wall long before Deadpool made it cool. So, the next time you see Jennifer Walters defending a client or taking down a bad guy, remember, she wasn't just created to fight crime. She was created to ensure Marvel stayed ahead of the game.
Very fascinating that they just wanted to beat somebody to the punch so they could cash out on that.
I did not know that. Yeah, I knew that the 70s and the Bronze Age was lots of female characters were created back with Marvel. You know, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, and all the rest of them. So, but that part I didn't know.
Well, nice to know, Spud, that you love these so much. We love them so much as well. And they're, again, Jet is doing the VO on those Did You Know segments. Josh, did you have something to say?
I just want to say I love Did You Know. Shout out to Jeff for creating this because we found some interesting. Well, yeah, I mean, you are Jeff.
I am. That's me.
But yeah, I love these things, and can't wait to see the next one. And it's interesting to find out about Jennifer Walters and why she was created. And so yeah, keep them coming, Jeff.
Absolutely, we love doing them for sure. And Chet, it's keeping Chet busy right now as he gets back up to being able to be in front of camera and tell us the story of how he came back to life, because that will be coming in 2025 as well. It's something I forgot to tease there. It's a big story. It's an epic story. I'm telling you right now. And I can't wait for us to share that with the world.
Does it involve grape soda?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Does it involve grape soda?
I don't believe it did, because it did involve, well, we'll talk about this later. I'm not even going to get into it right now. Sorry, it had to be done. That's kind of like a palate cleanser, because we're going to get back in. We're going to get into the final segment of the evening. And I forgot to check out who our semifinalist is from last week. But we have one more semifinalist to fill out the bracket here for December. But here we are. We are here. The last fresh from the comic shop of 2024. We will also be definitely will be retiring this. This is from many moons ago, that logo right there. That will be retired as well. But again, our last fresh from the comic shop for 2024, we ask you, the audience, to send in your fresh gets. You never disappoint. Not only is it rewarding to share your fresh gets with the community, but you could also win a monthly prize. That's right, courtesy of EGS and Spider Dude. We have the December book of the month right here. This beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Fantastic Four #1. A book provided by Spider Dude, link down below. And beautiful slab provided by EGS. That's right, EGS. I'm telling you guys, I love their proprietary cases. I love the fact that they have these beautiful option custom labels. We may even see another one of these from Mr. De La Torre as well. Hopefully we will. Free graders notes, fast turnaround times. They are the best out there. I'll tell you what, if you have these keepsakes that you want protected in a slab in a unique way, they are the way to go. Save 5% off your order using Canon 5 for sure. Tony and team do a fantastic job. The links are down below. Y'all need to be following them as well. So here we are, everybody. Again, I cannot remember who our semifinalist is from last week, but whoever moves on this week will be going in the semifinals to hopefully move on to the finals. But before we get it, what's that? Go ahead.
I think it was Spud Comics, if I'm not mistaken.
It was Spud. It was
Yeah.
Spud. It was you. I remember the entry was pink. Oh, before we get into that too, we look for 3 pieces of criteria. By the way, we're not going to have to explain this next year because we're going to have a beautiful motion graphic explaining this whole thing. But we look for 3 pieces of criteria. Why is he chiming in here, guys? Why? I don't remember if it was. I think it was Spud.
Go back to drinking your hot cocoa.
Yeah. Kick your feet back, relax, get some rest because you need it. Because I can see Dan in the backstage laughing.
That's can you pull up his other comment?
That reaction from him. What's that, Josh?
Can you pull up his other comment he just wrote? He says, "Oh, maybe I'm wrong." Yeah, you've been wrong, Joe, and I've been right.
Wow! Just milk it, Josh. Milk it.
This is getting ugly. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Again, 3 pieces of criteria we look for. Take a well-composed shot. Give us some beautiful lighting. Give us something creative that relates to the book. Give us that nice, spacious depth of field, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Show us a unique book. Unique does not mean $30,000, but unique to be something that we've never seen before. I'll tell you what, the easiest unique thing to do is send in a sketchbook from some hotshot artist and it looks amazing or what have you. The third is pull at our heartstrings. Tell us a story. What does this book mean to you? Does it remind you of a family member? Does it remind you of the first book you ever picked up off the rack? Tell us a sentimental story because that definitely goes a very, very long way. Oh, look at this. Not only is Josh mad at you, Joe, but Spuds is mad as well. All right, so we're going to get into it, gentlemen. We're all going to share our own fresh gets as well. But before we do that, just want to go over the 11 finalists we have for the big book of 2024. That's right. We do kind of like a March Madness style in 2025 in February-ish. The 12 winners representing each month of the year will go head-to-head and battle for a big book to be decided. January was Mike Haggs. February was Dr. Plagueis. March was Mons. April was Nukes. May was Kaboom. June was Super Crispy, but a cover made by Kaboom, which is really cool. July was Nori Jordan. August was Raising Elm. September, C to the G. October was Goonish Lurker. November was Slick Jolly. All right, first up, we have, excuse me, everybody. We have Real Caleb Leland in the house here. Evening, comic fam. The Leland boys were out again. It's time for an early birthday present for Nick Leland to go see Nosferatu. God, I'm terrible at that. But afterwards, we hit up my LCS, and I was able to pick up my first Scotty Young cover for the PC. I'm a big fan of his, but have never grabbed any. And this cover of Wolverine issue 2 featuring Wolverine and Deadpool is absolutely brilliant. What better book to submit for my last fresh from the comic shop for 2024? I hope everybody had a great holiday season. Much love. As always, you folks make my week better hanging out in the chat with all of you. Caleb, we love you, man. You and your family. That is a fresh get that is eligible to become a semifinalist. I just want to point that out. So between Dan and I'm going to go Dan first, actually. Dan, what do you got for your first fresh get of the week?
We're doing 3.
Sure, why not?
Total? All right, great. Okay, my first one here is something I've never had before, and I got it at a good price, and it is when Kang was prominent, and it's Avengers 23.
Oh, look at
the
that
giant
nice.
Kang, overseeing the Avengers here. So now that the Kang controversy is sort of muted, we probably won't see this, but again, I still wanted to get my hands on this one. And I'm trying to collect the first 100 issues of Avengers. I've got most of them, but this is one of the ones that was on my list. So,
Dan, that's a great. Is that a Kirby cover? I'm not sure, but I love that cover.
Yes, it is. All the early Avengers were Kirby. By the way, I don't have any EGS to show. These are all on their way to EGS at some point, starting with this one.
Fair enough. All right, moving on. We have Nori Jordan, who is not eligible, gentlemen. Nori Jordan is not eligible. Hello, everyone. I normally show obnoxious amounts of Thunderbolts books, but my other passion is Daredevil. Even after a 20-year break in collecting, I almost have an entire run of all the different series, missing about 60 books from Volume 1. Wow. This week, I was able to add a great key, Daredevil 159, which is Frank Miller's first contribution to the series. An interesting fact that many people don't know of is that Frank Miller was raised in Montpelier, Vermont, which is only 15 minutes from where I live. Now I will be putting more effort into filling in the holes of my Daredevil collection. And with a miracle, get a Daredevil #1. Take care, everyone. Sounds like a 2025 goal, but I love the submission. This is really well done. I love the image he chose for the background, which is obviously Daredevil. And it's a great key book right there. So well done there. Josh, what do you have for your first fresh get?
Yeah, I have this. This is a really cool cover. This is Superman, the Man of Steel, issue number 37. And you can find this in the dollar bins mostly. But if you look at the cover, he is surrounded by multiple Batmen. You have actually, if you look up closely, you can see Frank Miller's adaptation of Batman, it looks like. You have the Detective 27, that like 0.20 version. If I'm not mistaken, we have a Batman animated series as well. We have Adam West's Batman
So cool.
kind of vision here. So this is a cool, like I said, issue in the dollar bins you can find. It's just got pretty much every different Batman on the cover, and I think it's a great cover. So,
That's a fantastic cover. I love it. I want that myself.
Yeah, it's a very cool cover. Love how it has the variations of the Batman on there. Next up, we got Goonish Lurker coming at you with a long-awaited fresh from the comic shop with this eerie #7. This one goes back to January of 1967 with a Frank Frazetta cover. I've been eyeing this at my local comic shop, Mutiny Comics, for a while and was finally able to snag it from one of their Whatnot shows. I love horror covers, and with Frank doing the cover, I'm glad to have this in the PC. That's something that Joe, I think, would greatly appreciate right there. But guess what? He's unfortunately not here. All right, I'll stop.
That should be on every show in 2025.
We can't do that. By the way, hello to Mike's Total Dragon channel. I like that name right there. All right. Oh, me. I'm up. Okay. Guys, I'm going to start it off. And I wish Nukes or Scruffy can comment on this. I think those are the two that comment the most on this. I don't know. Dr. Plague is too, actually. So, yeah. Void Rivals, #15. With a freaking Hot Rod Rodimus Prime on the cover? Are you kidding me? I was so psyched to get this.
That's nice. Oh, that's very cool.
From the Transformers, the movie. I love this cover. Love this character too. So I was very happy to pick that up this week, actually.
Is that magazine size, Jeff?
No. It's comic size. It's
okay.
Void Rivals, #15.
Okay. All right.
One of my favorite new reads these past year plus. So yeah. All right, moving on. We have, who do we have, gentlemen? Who do we have? Sorry, I've lost my way. Kaboom Comics. Here we go. Hey, comic fam. Hope everyone had an awesome Christmas. Just want to share one of my books I got back a couple of years ago. Always wanted a signed Stan Lee book and got this beauty with Todd McFarlane's signature. Also, my favorite cover with the Hulk and Wolverine. Enjoy the new year, everyone. I mean, yeah, that's classic right there. And he has Stan Lee and Todd McFarlane. Wow. Todd McFarlane on there, the signature. So that's good stuff right there. Mr. De La Torre, what do you got?
Okay, this is a controversial cover, but this has been on my list for a long time. And shout out to Comic Ozzy from his Whatnot sale, because I did get this, and it's Betty and Me, the very controversial Archie saving Betty.
Oh, wow.
By having to deal with 3 other gentlemen. You can read it for yourself.
What did he have to beat off? Can you elaborate on that, please, Dan?
We should probably go to commercial before I elaborate on that. So,
not sure I understand. Because that's beat off is actually emphasized there because it's in red. If you notice that.
Yeah.
Beat off. What does that mean?
I'll just leave that to your imagination. Let's just put it that way, because we are a PG show. So,
Right. I mean, are there wild animals on the cover? Let me see. I got to get a closer
Yeah,
look.
they are in the water, and they've been beaten off. So yeah,
They've been beaten off in the water. Okay.
Yes, they have. Yes, yeah.
I
Very
mean, interesting
controversial.
to note that their hands are underneath the water too, kind of.
What are they beating
Zooming.
off?
Jeff, did your parents have a conversation with you when you were younger about the birds and the bees and all that?
Anyways, next
I don't
up,
want to
we
have this
actually
now.
have Josh's comics right here. So Josh, you don't get to do 3.
I had one more ready to go.
I'm out.
Oh
Time
well.
out. Joe, this is good. It's hard to beat off in the water.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're laying on the couch, calling a
Well
sip there here
done,
on the
Dan. Look
cabin.
at
All right.
You know?
Dan's drawn all the engagement on this episode right here.
Oh.
Well done. Joshua, you actually you submitted right here. You are not eligible, just want to say. Nor is Kaboom, by the way. Superman Adventures #1, first appearance of Mercy Graves in a comic book. Mercy Graves debuted on the TV series Superman, the Animated Adventures, with the recent trailer for Superman dropping. Figured I'll share this cool question in the comic shop. Issue 1 of Superman Adventures, which tells even more cool stories from the hit animated series. I truly believe that if Gunn can give us a little taste and remind us of our childhood, then we could be in for a fantastic film. I agree with that. Always remember, when you are at your lowest and seem in the dark, look up into the sky and fly. Josh, well said, man.
I will say this too. If you're ever in the water beating off, look up.
Look up. Yeah. Or if anybody else is in
Just
the
look
water
up.
doing that, look up. For sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's it.
Okay.
Where is this conversation going?
Yeah, my second question.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna move on, everybody. I'm gonna do this. Well, shoot, I don't want it. Man, I probably had a better book, but I found a Spawn #13, and I love picking these up, the newsstand versions, because they're mid 90s right here, and that is really rare, especially for an image book. So that was pretty cool. It's a great cover. And yeah, it's hard. You don't see these too often, so I picked it up for $4. I was like, why not? So nice to have that in the old collection. All right. Sorry, guys. Next up, actually, I don't think we have 2 more fresh gets to go through, and both are not eligible, by the way. Dan, why don't we get your third fresh get of the week?
All right, I was at GalaxyCon in San Jose, and it was difficult to find a lot of good deals, but I found this one. I just stunned. I got it for $50, and this is an early Spider-Man, ASM 21.
Nice.
And it's really, really pretty. Presents well. This will definitely be going to EGS grading. It's got a rolled spine, and so it's got some issues here. But Tony's got a new presser and cleaner, and the guy is just dynamite. He had a different gentleman a few years ago. He wasn't as good, but this guy is really top notch. So this will be on its way to you, Mr. Trombata. So this will be graded and slabbed. And anytime you get an early, 50 or below ASM, and especially for $50, you can't beat it.
No, for sure. And that's a beautiful Ditko cover.
It is.
Amazing Ditko cover. I can't wait to see what EGS does with that book right there.
Yeah.
For sure. All right. Good friend of the show, Raising Elm Comics. Here we go. He did it again. Howdy, comic fam. My beautiful wife and I went on a wonderful date recently, which included a trip to Barnes & Noble. While there, we found a copy of the Hobbit graphic novel, which collects all 3 of the comics released by Eclipse back in the late 80s, early 90s. We were both huge fans of the Hobbit, Lord of the Rings franchises, so we had to get this to the collection. Seeing as how all of us will be taking a big journey going into 2025, I couldn't think of a better book to submit to the canon. To quote Bilbo Baggins, the road goes ever on and on, down the door where it began. Now far ahead, the road is gone, and I must follow it. I must follow if I can, pursuing it with eager feet until it joins some larger way, where many paths and errands meet, and whither then I cannot say. Much love, comic fam, and happy New Year. So good right there. So good. I'm sure that hits all the feels for a lot of people here, including Lexi, aka Spud.
Oh.
Okay, so Joshua, if you have 2 and 3, let's get your second and third.
Third.
Well, don't you said you had 3 you pulled.
Well, I had 3, meaning I had one I submitted earlier today. Didn't know that we wouldn't have a host. I have 2.
Okay.
We just did one. I got one more. So I just picked this up a couple of days ago. I picked this up on Christmas Eve, actually, from my local comic book shop, Captain Blue Hen Comics
Oh,
in
nice.
Newark, Delaware. And this is a Vision #1 by Tom King, and it is the first appearance of Vision and his family, but also V Vision, who is rumored to be appearing in the Young Avengers /Champions show or movie that might be coming out. We know that Vision Quest is coming as well, and it sounds like it might take a little bit of inspiration from the story. So I got this. I think it was like $30, but I got a good deal. I think it was like $10 off or something like that for the holiday. It was like 20, but it is in new mint condition, beautiful copy, and yeah. So now I got to be Vision's first appearance, and I love Vision anyway. I think he's a great character, and yeah, can't wait to see what role he plays moving forward.
I love that pickup for you right there. Again, that has a few first appearances in there that we could see in that Vision Quest series. Definitely.
Yeah.
So great pickup right there for $20. It was going for a lot more than that with all the other rumors. All right. And our final submission of 2024. It's weird to say, isn't it? And that is Nuke's Comics. Fresh from the comic shop, Amazing Spider-Man 265 reprint. Look what was waiting for me under the Christmas tree. Here's hoping my fellow Cannoneers had a wonderful Christmas. May you all ring in the new year surrounded by loved ones and filled with hope. Blessings to you all. Good stuff indeed. I do love this second print right here. It looks so cool from the original cover. So that is very, very, very well done. And before we decide on who's going to make it to the semifinals, excuse me, I just burped. I'm going to show my last fresh scout of the week. Josh will definitely like it. I think Daniel liked it as well. This here is same comic book. I actually went to my parents for the Christmas, and I went to a shop. They live in Oxford, Maryland, which is close to Eastern Maryland. And I went into a shop that's been there for 5 years. I had no idea. And this is the second appearance, Joshua and Dan, of the Creature Commandos. It's Weird War Tales, number 97. Second appearance.
Oh.
Yeah. So got that for $6.
No, hold on. That's a second appearance, and you got that for only $6?
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That
I mean, it's not in the
is.
best condition, but
that's great.
right. Look,
Yeah.
you see right there a little discoloration, right? Down at the
It's a
bottom
Christmas cover, technically,
Yes.
too. I mean, that's
Yes,
right?
it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at the tree in the background. There you go, Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff put that on Mylar.
Put it in my. I can do that.
Please
look
do.
at this, Dan, right here. Look at the DC logo. That's definitely.
Yes. That's cool.
Yeah, but still, like Dan said, I mean, for $6 for the second Creature Commandos,
Yeah.
I mean, the original team, that's big.
They were more of like a Magic the Gathering shop or whatever RPG, not our. What games that Joseph plays. But
hey, you find some gold at those places. Let me tell you.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yeah, so I was happy to pick that one up right there. All right, gentlemen, we have some things that we have to discuss here. I've landed on my Rob list. I don't know Rob.
Don't worry, I've been on that list quite a few times.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
That's a good thing.
Okay.
It's a good thing. It means that your books will probably never be robbed, but there's a good chance that Spud may rob them. But then again, like, she's so sweet. I don't think she would ever rob somebody. So
No, there's no drug testing on the show, as Josh just examined. And what she means, Jeff, is that you stole that. That was a great deal.
I figured that.
Okay,
I just wanted to extrapolate it. I wanted us to discuss it a little bit more. All right, so gentlemen, here are the people that are eligible. We have Caleb Leland, and that's it. Actually, wow, is that it? Because we had Nori, we had Goonish,
right?
Kaboom, Josh, no, Raising Elm, no, and Nukes, no.
Yeah, that's it.
Congratulations, Caleb! You're going to go up against Spud. Oh, wow.
Well done.
Two favorite people going right up head to head. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
gonna be the
do want
last
to
question.
say real quick about his submission, though. I lost my father about 9 years ago, so seeing everybody join in the hobby and go watching movies and collect comics. Me and my father used to do that. Not collecting comics so much, but we used to go out and see the big movies, the Batman movies, and everything. So I gotta say, this when I saw this submission, man, it kind of brought me to tears a little bit, and you know people can say maybe it's not well presenting, but I think it's great. A father and son bonding, holidays, great story and message behind it. So I'm really glad that Cade won. And honestly, this is going to be my pick for tonight anyway. Just
No,
putting it out there.
I agree with Josh. It hits all the right buttons here.
Yeah, that was leading the pack for me without me being conscious of the fact that it was the only one that was eligible. Because again, it's all about pulling at the heartstrings, and time is the most precious commodity we have, and spending it with loved ones. Josh, as you said, all right, that's very special, and I love seeing these types of pictures. Again, we're gonna hopefully have more guests on. Who knows what they'll like seeing? I know Joe and I and Josh and even Dan sometimes have to pick. But seeing the family bonds and seeing it bond over this, hobby that we love or these characters that we love, it's very special. So, Caleb, well done. You're going to be going up against Lexi. We'll have to see how that goes. That's going to be going on this week. Probably we'll have the finalists by end of next week, which will be 2025 at that point. And we will be sure to announce that one right there. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. We're nearing the end of the last show for 2024. And if there's one thing we do want to convey, it's Joe is at home resting. So as we say, rest well, sweet prince.
He may never come back.
I want the show to end in a way, because it's been so much fun, not because Joe wasn't here. It's just, again, it's nice to be able to kind of close off chapter of 2024 in terms of the canon in a way like this, with loved ones who are here virtually or who are here present, on camera. I love you guys. I really do. I love the community here. I love what we do each and every week. It's a lot of work, I have to say. I've never complained. I do point that out. I never really pointed out either, but it's always worth it once you're in the mix and doing your thing. So I don't know. I'm just very grateful. So
yeah,
that's what I'll say right there. Dan, I know Dan will have some eloquent words, so maybe we should have Josh talk in his grunting voice.
Yeah, man, you know what? It's my first full year on Canon. Well, half year. I joined in halfway through the season, but it's always a great time. I know sometimes, like my job, I gotta find the information, send it to Jeff. Sometimes I send it a little bit late, so get close to the wire. My goal is to get better at that and have it done Friday nights. However, sometimes stuff leaks into Saturdays, but we
Sundays
work
too.
it out. Yeah, I mean, honestly, we had something drop. Actually, we'll talk about it next show, but some things drop today as well. But yeah, it's just it's fun. This is something I look forward to every Sunday night. And then when I go back to work tomorrow, the only thing I'm thinking about is when am I buying my next book and when am I gonna report the news and see you guys on Canon. I love you all. You guys are the best parts of this community, and I'm proud to be a part of it. And like Jeff said, Canon's got some new exciting things coming up this new year, and I just got a new logo for my channel as well. Getting a little updated on some things over here as well, and I wish everybody happy New Year. Messages are open. DM me if you need anything, and I'll be here. And just keep on doing our thing. And I love you all.
Real quick before you speak, Dan, Jeff is being nice to you today, Josh. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, you haven't cut me off, Jeff. That's surprising.
Anyways, Dan,
I mean, you need me for the viewership, though. I mean,
Dan, I said Dan. Dan.
Yes. Look, we all come together because we love comics, and it was an honor to be named to be on this show. We come together because of not just the love for the stories and the collecting and all the rest of it, but deep down, we're all kind of different people. I mean, most of my friends are here on YouTube. I mean, my family and friends don't understand me, and I'm probably not alone in this. We're all kind of different, and so we're looked differently upon by the rest of the world. We all come together because we share in our appreciation of ourselves as different people, and our appreciation for things that people don't understand, whether it's comics or anything else that's nerdy or goofy. Or we don't see it as that. We see it as something that we appreciate. So that's why I love coming on this show, and I'm on other shows as well for the same reason. So if it and especially since the world's kind of crazy right now, and if we bring a smile to you or a little forgetfulness for an hour or so, we've done our jobs, and that's kind of why we do what we do. And I know Jeff and Josh, we put a lot of work into this. I mean, Josh, you did a fantastic job today, especially with your it was one of your best reports, and you do a lot of work to do that. And Jeff, to put this whole show together, it's a labor of love. I know that, but it's like it's an underappreciated labor. And I want to say thank you for all that you do here, and thank you for having me on. It's an honor, and I love everybody in this chat here. I look forward to Sundays to see everybody here, and I look forward to the new year. Happy New Year to all of you. Love you all, and we'll see you again on the next episode. By the way, are we on next week?
No.
Okay.
Well said. We'll have to put a reminder out there, but we are off next weekend. However, Fresh from the Comic Shop will continue. Send in your fresh gets because those will count for the January contest. So we'll remind you to do that. But again, what all you guys said, again, this is a labor of love. We love it, love it, love it. That's why we're here. And we get so much out of it as well. I love doing it. Joe loves doing it. Josh and Dan, you love doing it as well. So it's very, very appreciative on my part. And everybody else. I'm making no sense right now. I'm sorry.
And one last thing, a huge shout out to my lovely wife, because she puts up with me on all these other shows. I mean, she's in there making dinner right now. I have to go help her out, but she tolerates this whole. She's not a comic collector. She's not a collector at all. She won't read comics, but she understands me, and she puts up with all this. But I had to give her a huge shout out. I got to do that. I got to give Alicia a shout out too, because the work that goes into this, it takes away from us. And, I may not have folded the clothes or done, taking the dishes out of the dishwasher, whatever, but she supports it wholeheartedly. She's giving ideas on certain things in the can. So Alicia, props, even though you're sleeping right now.
We need to get the ladies on the show in 2025.
I have an idea. We'll get it going. But again, thank you all again for always tolerating us and lasting this long and watching each and every week. We love you guys. Please be safe during the holidays. As Josh said, if you're feeling lonely or need somebody to talk to, hit us up. All of our DMs are open. I've been there personally. I know what it's like. It's hard. So again, we'll talk it out over comic books or what have you. So, but be safe, be healthy, be happy. We hope that you spend New Year's with loved ones and have a great time. And we will see you January the 12th for the first episode of 2025 on The Canon. Until then, everybody, please, please, please be good to yourself, be good to others, and peace.